as general practitioners and nurses who work in primary care, and we have a problem of language when we talk with specialists. They don't understand these sort of things that we were talking about. They don't even imagine. They don't go to the houses of the patients, and it's quite difficult, the communication and coordination with other doctors that talk a different language in terms of what the patient needs, what the patient wants, and this.
It's not only the language. I mean, when you speak, means that you think differently.
Yeah, well, I said the language, but I was not the words, but the meaning of the words, or the yeah.
I think it's got worse, particularly in big cities. I think in smaller communities it's easier to create a community of practice that includes specialists, and I think that's a very good way of opening up channels of communication. And I think it's in a way our responsibility, like with the palliative care doctors, to try and find a way of building the bridges from our end, because they're not going to do it from their end. So in a way we have to do it. And we, for years and years and years in my practice, we had a psychiatrist and a gynecologist and a pediatrician who came into the practice once a month or once a week to have lunch with us and to discuss patients. Fabulous privilege. And the gynecologist, it was the best part of his month. You know, he loved coming to our practice because he was able to talk about people in a different way. And actually you will find, it's a question of finding the right person, but it can be hugely helpful to get that extra knowledge and combine it in a informal conversation about. We didn't necessarily ask them to see all the patients, but we could discuss patients and discuss things and have that community mind-line thing of people popping up with other bits of information and getting a really rich story. So I don't know whether there's any capacity in your system for doing something similar, but it's incredibly helpful, and that means you have made a friend on the other side of the fence, and then you can use them to ring up and say, is there such a thing as a thinking cardiologist in your hospital? Sort of thing.
We have one real problem because one thing is what we call comarcal hospitals, no? Because they are much closer to the health center. But at least here in Barcelona, the two biggest and more hospitals, at the same time, the highest level hospitals and the local hospital. So it's very difficult for the health centers that are around Vall d'Hebron or Bellvitge to have a lot of contact with these specialists, because as I told you, these are one hospital that on the same time they are taking care of emergencies for the patients that perhaps are outside and they have fallen on the street, and coronary or hepatic. This is one problem that I think is difficult to manage, because this thing in other countries, they are more separated. So far I know, for example, in Germany, you have very high-level hospitals, only hair transplantation, blah, 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 and more local hospitals. And that perhaps would be easier. I don't know.